I'm Alex Kennedy. He's Steve Kyler. This is HOOPSWORLD TV. Today we're talking about coaches on the hot seat. Every year we see a couple coaches in the NBA fired before the end of the season. This year, a few guys come in. They have something to prove. Steve, who are some coaches that you think enter this season on the hot seat?
Well, I think the easiest one is Mike Brown. You got that roster in L.A. and you don't get it done, you're probably out. But, you talk to people in and around the Lakers organization and you look at some of the moves that they made and bringing in, Eddie Jordan to kind of help on the offensive side. I think they're trying to help Mike Brown be successful there. But I think the proof is in the pudding here. If you don't meet expectations in L.A., especially with so many critics for Mike Brown, I think he's somebody you have to watch. I worry about Lawrence Frank. I love Lawrence Frank as a head coach, but you've got a new owner in Detroit and, his patience in this rebuilding process. The hope was that Lawrence Frank was going to reach guys and they were going to be, systematically better. And I don't necessarily know that the Detroit Pistons were. They're very young, so I think that plays very well to what Lawrence Frank does as a teacher. Young guys do tend to respect him. You watch him at Summer League and players that have played for him kind of flock to him a little bit. So I see that the players represent and get what Lawrence Frank is doing, but I wonder how long is ownership going to be patient. Kevin McHale with the Houston Rockets, I think it's pretty evident that was a bad hire from the beginning. Pretty much everybody that mattered on that team last year kind of ran for the hills with Kevin McHale. We'll see what he does. He's got a younger team. A lot of these guys are the kind of guys that tend to, respond well to Kevin McHale. But again, I think if it's another ho-hum season in Houston and looking at preseason, it's hard to say that they're going to be a dominant team. I don't know if the owner there, Les Alexander, is going to stay the course. Daryl Morey's had a long time to try to make that team matter. Kevin McHale isn't reaching guys. And if it looks like that's going to be the case again this year, not going to surprise me to see Kevin McHale fired. But I think another big one that's, one you wouldn't think, and that's Avery Johnson with the Brooklyn Nets. You look at all the money the Brooklyn Nets spent, you look at the expectation that has been heaped onto this Brooklyn franchise, and you have to wonder, all right, Avery, you got your horses, can you do anything with it? And I think that's going to be the big thing for the Brooklyn Nets, and really for Avery. He's got all the tools. Can Darren Williams stay on the court for 60, 70, 80 games? That's a big question. Can you get anything out of Brook Lopez? I think the expectation level, Avery got a pass for the last couple of years. I don't think anybody thought the New Jersey Nets were going to be competitive. Everyone is expecting the Brooklyn Nets to be competitive, and if they're not, I think it's going to be a problem for Avery Johnson. So I think those are the three that I look at the most and say, Mike Brown, if they don't have immediate success or they really struggle, hey, if the floor falls out from under, Mike Brown's probably in trouble. Lawrence Frank with the Detroit Pistons, certainly you got to look at that. And then Avery Johnson, I think those are the easy ones, just simply because of the situation. And, of course, Kevin McHale, I think we can probably call Kevin dead man walking.
You mentioned guys that are expected to be successful. I think Vinny Del Negro is someone who has a very talented roster. If they don't live up to the expectations, then he could be gone. Randy Whitman, too. The Washington Wizards have made a lot of moves. They have veterans there now.
I don't understand the Whit hire. I'm a big Randy Whitman guy. I like him, but he's an assistant coach. And, if you want to get better, I don't know that Randy Whitman. But look, sometimes you say, hey, can we get the better guy? Can we make the upgrade? No, we really can't. Well, these guys played well for him last year, and the guys did play better for Randy Whitman down the stretch. But, the thing with Vinny Del Negro, though, AK, is that his contract is up. They picked up the option. He's a free agent. So don't really look at a guy who's a pending free agent. I think there is a good chance a new coach is brought in next year, but you're talking about the Clippers. Unless the wheels absolutely fall off, the head coach of that franchise is Chris Paul. We just don't call him that.
That's a good point. Those are definitely some coaches to keep an eye on. He's Steve Kyler. I'm Alex Kennedy. This is HOOPSWORLD TV.